Welcome to Swordbox Ministries. Thanks for checking out our Tuesday message. The keep continues with the story of Joseph. Our verse for the day is Philippians 2:13. For it is God who works in you both to will and to do according to his good pleasure.
Well, welcome back. Yesterday, Pharaoh had dreamed two dreams, and he had called for all of his wise men and his magicians, but no one could interpret his dreams for him. The butler, who had had his dream interpreted by Joseph 2 years earlier, finally remembered Joseph, and he told Pharaoh about him. Joseph was sent for from prison and was brought before Pharaoh. And in Genesis chapter 31, verse 15, it says, "And Pharaoh said to Joseph, I have had a dream, and there is no one who can interpret it. But I have heard it said of you that you can understand a dream to interpret it." You know, Joseph had wondered why he was being brought before Pharaoh. Now he knew. More than likely, he didn't know when they first came and got him. And you know, it's hard for us to imagine what it would be like to be brought before someone as powerful as Pharaoh was. He had all authority in the land. It would have been a bit unsettling for me, I think. You know, simply a bad mood from someone like Pharaoh could have your head removed, could have you tortured, or I guess Joseph had already been in the dungeon, so that wouldn't have been much of a threat, but certainly it would have been horrible to think he's going back there. You know, after all, Joseph was no stranger to being punished and persecuted for things he didn't do. But this was a different experience for Joseph. Because of God's favor and God's gift, being able to interpret dreams, Joseph was sought out by Pharaoh. In Proverbs 22:29 says, "Do you see a man who excels in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before unknown men." Every place Joseph had been, God had caused Joseph to prosper, and he was placed in authority. As a slave, he was given authority over all of Potiphar's house. And as a prisoner, he was given authority over all of the prison. So after Pharaoh spoke to Joseph, Joseph said this. So Joseph answers Pharaoh saying, "It is not in me. God will give Pharaoh an answer of peace." Joseph said two very important things here. Number one, he said, "I can't do it. The thing you're asking for me, I can't do it." And number two, he said, "My God can do it. Not only can my God do it, but my God will do it." That's an awesome statement of faith. You know, when God gifts us in certain areas, we have talents, we have abilities, or we find ourselves being successful in certain areas of life, it is so tempting to our flesh to begin to rely on our own abilities we've been given. Oh, I can do this, you know, I'm good at that. As soon as we take our eyes and our focus off of God and place it on ourselves, we are robbing God of the glory that is due him, and then we're seeking to glorify ourselves. That's the same thing Satan did. It must turn the stomach of God when we think and act like that. When in reality, if we think about it, we're all dust from earth, and everything we have is a gift from God. Joseph was quick to point out that he was completely dependent upon God. He told Pharaoh, "It is not in me." Now that is humility. He was also quick to let Pharaoh know that God was able to do this, and he put his very life and future on the line in faith by telling Pharaoh that God would do it before Pharaoh ever told the dream to Joseph. What a great example we have today from the life of Joseph of humility and faith in God. We're going to continue our story with Joseph. There's so much to learn from him, and I hope you'll continue to come back and listen to what God has to say to you.